Hello, YouTube. Jason from Renegade Rants Comics here. So, I've been wanting to do this video ever since I knew that they were going to be bringing Frank Castle back as a couple different series in the Marvel Universe. So, we have the Punisher Red Band, and we have the Marvel Knights The Punisher. So, I was super excited when I found out this was coming. Okay. So, this is a 5-issue limited series that promises the return to the Punisher roots. Okay. Marco Checchetto on the cover, Julius Ota as the artist, and Benjamin Percy as the writer. I love anything that Benjamin Percy does. I had picked this up before I went in the hospital, and a friend of mine was able to grab it, bring it to me so I could read it while I was in the hospital, and I wasn't disappointed. I like where I think he's going to take the story, and for the love of God, he did not do anything with the craptastic Jason Aaron killing off of one of my beloved characters. Like, I don't know what Marvel was thinking. Okay? So everyone knows that the Punisher logo has been used by groups that Marvel doesn't like, or the creators don't like, or somebody doesn't like, and they are just they tried to kill the character. This is a character that Daredevil Born Again is one of the John Bernthal coming back was one of the highlights in my opinion, and I love Daredevil. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted to see John Bernthal back. They're going to be doing a special with him. He is supposed to be in the new Spider-Man movie, so obviously people like the character. To me, if they wanted to get rid of the logo, you've got it trademarked. Stop selling it. Like, I don't understand. I can go to Walmart and buy a Punisher t-shirt right now. I can go to a car part store and buy the Punisher logo to put the emblem on my car. And it's licensed by Marvel. So if you don't want the logo out there, stop selling it. But we'll get into that. Now, the Marvel Knights version, this is going to be a 4-issue limited series, and it's for mature audiences. And this one is actually a key because it's the first appearance of El Zombie. And the cover artist is Dan Panosian, and the writer is Jimmy Palmiotti. And it's exploring the world to come, how Frank went from the killer of killers to the man you met in the world to come. Okay? So, my critique on this is very similar to the logo that they had on the replacement Punisher that failed miserably after Jason Aaron's run. So they get rid of Frank, and then they have a new character that has a very similar backstory, and it basically flopped. And I bought all of them because I just needed to see what the carnage was going to be. They're in the collection. I'll never look at them again. I'll never read them, but I have them. But if you're going to have the Punisher come back, you got to have the logo. I mean, this character came in as a villain, as a one-off throwaway, and Amazing Spider-Man 129, and was popular enough that he made a couple more appearances. They do a magazine that explores his backstory, and then he's able to actually get a 5-issue limited miniseries, a regular book, and at one point there was at least 4 titles minimum for him on the shelves. You had Armory, you had the regular Punisher run, you had Warzone, you had War Journal. Then you had the one-offs like Back to School, The Big Easy, those kind of things. And the characters endured. So I'm glad that he's back. I wish it was going to be as a full-time series, but I'm not going to be optimistic that they're going to bring him back in any capacity as a ongoing series book. Fine. If I can get some good stories up until they decide to pull the plug on him again or have whatever nervous breakdown they're going to have on it. So, here's my take. The Percy issue is building a nice story. Obviously, I've just read the first issues. I like both the first issues. My favorite is going to be Red Band because this is the character I grew up with. This is the character that I know. And I kind of like the way that they're doing it. I'm not sure what's going on, but I don't want to give you spoilers. I want you to go buy the book. Which also, when I got this, because I had it on my pull list, I wanted to get a copy just because I wanted to have one that was still in just the Red Band bag. I know that it's not going to increase the value that much, kind of thing, but my LCS was sold out, and they ordered like 50 copies. So the ones for the pull list, and they had like 50 spare copies or whatever. So that's showing me that it's a pretty popular thing for him to come back. Now, when we get into this one, and my critique, again, I don't know why we've got the new armory costume thing that's not really the logo, but it's the logo. And I'm not overly familiar with the World to Come, so maybe that's how they have it set up or anything anyway. But this storyline, it's pretty dark. And it brings him back to the violence that is what the Punisher was all about. Now, I get that you don't want children reading this. Okay? I get this should be for a mature audience. I probably should not have been reading The Punisher when I was the age I was reading The Punisher at. But as an adult now, this is how I want to see The Punisher. It's just the story always compelled me. Like of all the characters I love, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and I mean those are just the top ones that I collect and that are my go-to. This guy's could be real. Like when I was a kid, I was a big Batman fan. And I don't know why I kind of fell off with Batman, but I couldn't get enough Batman. When the Michael Keaton 89 movie came out, I'm like, finally, I can believe this. He's not from another planet. He's just a guy. Yeah, he's got a lot of money and he can buy cool tech but he's trying to make a difference because there's a tragedy that happened in his life, you know. And that was the same when I started reading The Punisher. My buddy Dave is the one that handed me a Punisher comic the first time. And I actually remember in my head going, well, I kind of like Batman better. But as the more I read it, the more I'm like, well, he's not rich. So honestly, his military training is the only thing that he has really going for him. And the fact that hey, he's robbing the people he's killing. That's how he's getting the money to afford the guns and ammo and all the other stuff. And then he's got this little guy, Micro, that is setting him up with all sorts of tech. It's not he's got a tech company or he's a super genius or anything like that. But the more I read into the Punisher, the more I'm like, this guy could be believable. Now, is that something to aspire to? No, because there are so many crazies out there in this world right now that when I read a comic book, I don't want to look at a comic book and go, "Oh my God, this is exactly what happened in this area," or "This is whatever." But I live in New York State, and currently our system is, we'll arrest you, have a good day. We don't keep anybody in jail anymore. And I've seen and have friends and have heard personally about people that have been arrested, got out, and then committed even more serious crimes after they've been released because of our bail reform. And I'm not trying to make this political. I'm trying to say that makes this guy a hell of a lot more believable in my opinion. Now, my hot take. I think anybody that's a Punisher fan should take these and get them. I think that them being a limited series for both, not going to be, that much to, get the whole run. Again, I'm going to end up getting the whole runs because it's my character, but I also know that the first issue can draw you right in, and then the subsequent issues can kind of either peter off or kind of lose the flair. What I'm hoping, and I'm hoping, is that these are popular enough that we get an ongoing series again. You know, and these are to the other extreme. Like some of the Punisher books I read weren't overly violent. There were stories that weren't necessarily overly violent. Yeah, there was always violence in them. These are taking it up 10 notches. But, you know, and I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that I think there can be a happy medium with Marvel about writing a Punisher series that doesn't necessarily have to be overly graphic, but at the same time is good storytelling. And that's what it's all about. It's supposed to be good storytelling. But as I was trying to do the video, and I've re-recorded this a couple times because I don't want to come across as that I don't like these. I also don't want to come across as, yay Marvel, thank you for bringing back something that you probably shouldn't have taken away anyway. You know, but it's also one of those in my head. What could they do to bring this character back into the universe? And I'm kind of waiting to see, like, is this going to be a thing where they're going to see how the reaction is, either with the special that John Bernthal is writing that's going to be on Disney Plus, or the possible I don't know if it's a cameo or if he's actually going to have a fairly big role in the new Spider-Man movie. But if that succeeds, would they bring him back? Would they give him his series again? You know, I'm okay if they bring him back as in the Marvel Knights, like if they're going to be pushing the Marvel Knights, and that's what we get from it. And I like Jimmy Palmietti's work. I mean, I loved him on the Jonah Hex run, and I've got a signed copy of the Jonah Hex one that he did. But if they bring him back, can we just take the political nonsense out of the story? Like it I don't know. What is your take on it? Down in the comments, let's kind of just do either a poll or whatever. Have you guys picked these up? Do you like them? Do you like the storytelling in them? Which one do you prefer? Would you like to see an ongoing Punisher series back again? Am I the only one in the comic book community of the comic book fan, friends that I've made and stuff like that is this big of a Punisher fan that is going to get wired up and get on camera and do a little venting session on it? If you like this sort of thing, feel free to please like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends that the bald guy is ranting. But I think the only thing I can say for sure, being a Punisher fan, is time will tell. So the safe thing with them being limited series is that literally they should finish the run out. I think they're popular enough that I don't see them canceling it before it finishes. So as a fan, I'm excited about getting two separate Punishers ongoing storylines at the same time in time for Christmas. So Merry Christmas to me for Marvel. But let me know your take down below. I wish everybody a happy, healthy, safe week, and we will see you next time.